This moment when he said this was the inspiration for the video I'm about to show you afterwards. But before
What
we
do I
watch
think I do
that,
for a living?
before we watch that, do an experiment with me and grab your phone real quick. I think you have it right there, right? And now I want you to put it on your forehead. Yeah, that's right. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay, I will tell you later what that was about. Let's watch that clip first. And
I create memorable moments, which is very definable because if you go see a movie, let's say you see a popcorn flick, you walk out of the movie theater, 10 minutes like, what happened in the movie? I don't know. It was fun. I don't know.
Exactly. So it's really important to be able to create memorable moments for whatever you do, right? So things that you will remember tomorrow, maybe share with someone, right? So I don't know. Once I heard this, I was like very intrigued and wanted to look into the science. So I made this video about the science of memorable moments from deep research, just my AI content channel.
What if I told you that 90% of your life will be forgotten, but you have the power to control which 10% sticks? Right now, your brain is actively deciding which moments from today to keep and which to discard forever. Think about your most vivid memory. Got it? Now here's something wild, that memory isn't actually a recording. It's more like a painting your brain recreated, and every time you remember it, you're literally repainting it. Scientists just discovered that our hippocampus acts as the brain's storyteller, weaving disconnected fragments into coherent narratives that become our memories. This changes everything about how we think about memorable moments. Because if memories are stories our brains tell, then we can learn to become better storytellers, not just of our own lives, but in how we're remembered by others. Your brain is ridiculously biased about what it remembers. It doesn't care about accuracy. It cares about emotion, novelty, and narrative. When psychologists hook people up to brain scanners, they found that emotionally charged moments trigger a flood of stress hormones and neurotransmitters that literally burn experiences into our neural pathways. Happy or sad doesn't matter. Intensity does. Actually, let's test this right now. Think of the number 7, just 7. Hold it in your mind. Now forget I asked you to do that. We'll come back to it later. Your brain also has a novelty detector that's constantly scanning for anything unusual. When something breaks the pattern, your brain lights up like a Christmas tree.
The 7th thing might have to do something with what we did earlier, right? But more on that later. For now, forget about it.
This is why you can't remember what you had for lunch 3 Tuesdays ago, but you perfectly recall that time a bird flew into your classroom in 3rd grade. Here's where it gets really interesting. Magicians and mentalists have been hacking these memory principles for centuries. When Oz Pearlman makes you think of a number and then reveals it, he's not reading your mind. He's writing to it. Through careful misdirection and suggestion.
It's very interesting. I wasn't like paying attention to what he did with his hands when I watched the podcast. It's only when I did the video now that I watched it with silence and not listening to the words, where I was looking at the hands and all the things that he does and this and that, and who knows what he's doing right there. But yeah, it's interesting.
Performers literally plant false memories in your brain. They control your attention so precisely that you remember events that never happened the way you think they did. One magician told researchers that the real trick isn't the illusion. It's choreographing what the audience will remember afterward. They create peaks of emotional surprise at exactly the right moment because they know about something called the peak end rule. Your brain doesn't average out experiences. It only remembers the most intense moment and how things ended. This is huge. It means a mediocre experience with one amazing moment and a great ending will be remembered more fondly than a consistently good experience. Theme parks figured this out decades ago. That's why Disney saves the fireworks for last. They're literally hacking your memory to make you forget the long lines and tired feet. Marketers weaponize these same principles. They don't just want you to see their ad, they want it burned into your brain, so they tell stories, trigger emotions, and create novel experiences. That weird Super Bowl commercial that made no sense but you can't stop thinking about? That's not an accident. Confusion plus emotion equals memory. But here's the part that should blow your mind. You can use these exact techniques in your own life. Want to make sure someone remembers you after a job interview? Don't be generically professional. Share one specific emotionally resonant story. Your brain literally can't help but remember stories better than facts. Remember that number I asked you to think about earlier? 7? That was me planting a seed in your memory using the exact technique mentalists use. By asking you to hold it and then distracting you, I made it stick harder than if I just mentioned it casually. You'll probably remember that 7 tomorrow, maybe even next week. The serial position effect means people remember the first and last things you...
Now, what I did with the phone was something in that direction, right? But it was not using this technique. It was using something else. More on that later.
say way better than anything in the middle. So put your most important points at the beginning or end of any conversation. It's like having a cheat code for human memory. Want to make any experience more memorable? Add participation. When mentalists involve you in the trick, your memory of it becomes 10 times stronger than if you just watched. This work.
Yeah, and that's why if you put this up, like it's also you have invested something into the video, and I think if you do something physical, as the video mentioned, you are basically, for now it's more important to you. First of all, it's probably just because you did something physical. Apparently that's important. That's something new to me, but also if you it's the same like if you pay for an app, right? Then you will actually think more highly of it, or like use it more, even because you have already invested something. Besides, if it's a free app, then you might not value it as highly, right? So it's kind of the same thing as soon as you are in there. And obviously, if the magician puts you on stage, like your adrenaline and so on kicks in, it's like much more of an emotional experience than otherwise. But even doing something out of the usual is the next thing, right? Not every YouTube video has you actually doing things in real life. Usually you stare at the screen and don't do things. So if you did that, you probably will remember that for much longer than our videos.
Works everywhere. Get people to physically do something, even something tiny, and they'll remember the entire interaction better. But what about the memories you don't want? What about that embarrassing moment that keeps playing in your head? Here's the counterintuitive truth. Trying to forget something often makes it stronger. Instead, you need to rewrite it. Every time you recall that cringe moment, you can literally edit it by focusing on different aspects or reframing the narrative. Studies at Columbia found that people who looked for positive elements in negative memories gradually transformed them. The memory doesn't disappear, but its emotional charge does. You're not changing what happened. You're changing what it means. And if you really want something forgotten by others, don't give it attention. When something embarrassing happens, our instinct is to over-apologize or dwell on it. But that just spotlights the moment in everyone's memory. Quick recovery and moving forward signals to everyone's brain that this wasn't worth remembering. Professional performers know this. When they make a mistake, they immediately follow with something impressive. Your brain overwrites the error with the recovery. It's not about being perfect. It's about controlling the narrative. The numbers back this up. Content that triggers high arousal emotions gets shared 1,800% more than neutral content. Not 18%, 1,800. Awe, surprise, anger. These emotions literally make your fingers itch to hit the share button. So here's the real question. If you know your brain is biased, if you know memory is hackable, if you know that 90% of life gets forgotten, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Because every interaction you have today is a chance to either fade into the forgotten 90% or burn yourself into someone's permanent 10%. The science is clear. Memorable moments aren't accidents. They're engineered. And now you know the blueprint. You'll remember that number 7, won't you? Speaking of memorable discoveries, stick around because the latest findings in science are about to challenge everything you thought you knew.
Yeah, so that was a good start. Obviously, there's much more to look into that topic. I think some good practical tips and some stuff I already knew here, to be honest. But you might not, right? And some things were new to me. Like also the physical implications and so on is very interesting. So